Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to ColdNorth Productions. I'm the Law Morris, and this is just going to be like a unscripted first impressions video. I have an outline of kind of my thoughts, but just kind of gonna try and go off the cuff a little bit here. This morning we're gonna be talking about MLB The Show 21. The game came out this morning, launched on Game Pass, which I think is a big deal, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But before we get started on that, I do just want to offer a disclaimer. I'm not a huge sports guy. I don't really watch any professional sports. I did play baseball all throughout my childhood. I also played throughout most of high school, and I used to play The Show quite a bit, the older games, but I kind of fell off of that. The last one I played was MLB The Show 14. So take that for what you will. Keep that in mind while you're hearing my impressions. But again, this is just a first impressions video. It's not a comprehensive review. I played it for about 3 hours this morning just to get an idea, and here's what I think. The best thing that this game has done so far, and I highly suspect the best thing that this game is going to be doing, is it offers you a ton of options from the very start. The game gets started and it just offers you, it launches you into the training, and it has each thing broken down. So like pitching, running, fielding, and batting, and it has them all broken down, and you can select each one, and then you have different options to choose from of different styles of pitching controls, different styles of batting controls, different styles of fielding and running controls. And it seems like, and again, last one I played was in 2014, but it does seem like they're pulling from kind of their greatest hits of the most popular control schemes from previous show games, and then offering that to the player and saying, hey, we know everyone likes something a little bit different, and so you choose the one you like. And that I think worked out really, really well for me. So basically, I just went ahead and set up the game to play as closely to the show 2010 as I possibly could, because that one was my personal favorite. I played a lot of the show 2010. Blaine Peterson, if you end up seeing this, highly doubt you will, but if you end up seeing this, shout out to you. We played so much of that game in your basement on the PlayStation 3. And then also, the game keeps coming with the options. As far as the presentation, it does offer two presentation option skins, or two presentation skin options, I don't know. But one of them is The Show 21, and the other is the MLB Network. The Show 21 seemed a little lackluster, I guess. It's not great. They seem to cram a lot of information down into the bottom portion of the screen, kind of the bottom third, and that leaves the top, the upper third looking like it's missing a lot, looking very empty. And then also, for whatever reason, in that skin, they exclude the broadcast commentators, which personally, I think, if I'm playing a sports game, and again, this might be different if you're really into sports. You might be looking for a different experience. But me personally, I want it to look in the game as much like it looks on TV as possible. And so for me personally, to not have the broadcast commentators is a pretty huge miss. But the MLB Network, not only did they borrow or are they do they have a lot of the same graphical assets and transitions and everything that the actual MLB Network uses, which I don't think we pay for it, but my wife gets the MLB Network somehow every year. So I see that on the TV all the time. But they also have the broadcast commentators on there, which for me makes it just so much more immersive and looks so much more like the actual thing on TV, which makes it really the obvious choice for me. And the information isn't nearly as cramped down in the bottom third. It's spread out up in the corner, and then also in the bottom third, and really only leaves one corner of the screen totally empty, which looks much more natural in my opinion. And then also difficulty, again, with the options, the difficulty. So not only does the game allow the player to adjust the level of kind of involved uniqueness, I guess you would say, that the controls require, which inherently does adjust the difficulty of the controls, but it also dynamically, intelligently adjusts the difficulty of the game to match your skill level. And I think that it's probably doing that pretty well, because both of my first 2 games I went into extra innings, and that was, I mean, it raises tension, makes it a lot of fun. I do see that becoming more of a problem for more experienced players, because if the game is constantly adjusting to your level, then it's not really, you're not able to really test your capabilities and say you want to take the next step up to the next higher difficulty and push yourself. If the game is constantly, bringing itself down to your level or pushing itself up to your level, you're never going to know what difficulty you should actually be playing at. So for beginners to get started, I think that's a really good thing. For more experienced players, you're probably going to want to turn that off. And then, so overall, first impressions, it's a ton of fun. It controls really well, which has been the biggest problem for me for the show in previous years. In fact, the controls and the jump from the most simplistic controls to kind of the medium was so huge that it just, the simplistic ones were too easy. The medium, or the more involved ones, were too hard. And that just kind of put me off the game altogether. And so the options for the controls make the game really fun. Overall, it's incredibly fun. The graphics look good, but I seem to remember the show kind of being a powerhouse of graphical capabilities and something to really show off the system's capabilities, and I just don't feel like this game is doing that, especially with like the TV reporters. She looked really bad. Character models are pretty good, animations are very good, but overall I feel like this is a franchise that used to be this graphical powerhouse, and it just doesn't feel like it's that anymore. I could be wrong. Also, this is, it's the first year on new consoles. It's the first year on Xbox. And so maybe that's an adjustment. And maybe we'll see it kind of return to that former glory of like really, really impressive visuals in years to come. But I will definitely be leaving this installed on my Xbox for the next, probably the rest of the baseball season, because I can definitely see myself playing this regularly. I'm also going to install it on the Xbox in the living room, which is my wife's Xbox, and she's I can see she's really into baseball much more than I am, and I think I could see us playing this together a lot throughout the course of the season. So I'm excited for this game. I'm excited to see how it evolves and if it becomes a part of the regular rotation for us for the next 6 months. But let's talk about kind of the elephant in the room, which is Game Pass. So obviously this is a Sony first-party game. Sony developed this game with one of their in-house studios, and it was a PlayStation exclusive for years and years and years, and this is the first time it's ever shown up on any system besides PlayStation. And the reason for that is because when it came time for them to re-sign their contract with the MLB, I think that was like late 2019, the MLB said, no, we want to be on every platform. And so the MLB basically gave them an ultimatum: either put the game on Xbox, or we're going to go to someone else. And that's that it's interesting, because not only is the MLB publishing the Xbox version, whereas Sony is publishing the PlayStation version, but then Microsoft and the MLB struck up a deal to get this game on Game Pass on day one. Now, there are casual gamers that exist that buy a console only to play like 1 or 2 sports games and maybe Call of Duty every year. And those people, there are many more FIFA players and many more Madden players than there are MLB players, but those people do exist. And those people that were playing MLB and only MLB every year, they were having to buy PlayStations. But if this game keeps coming to, like, if future iterations of this game keep coming to Game Pass on day one, suddenly those players, those casual players that are buying a console only to play MLB, are, instead of buying a PlayStation, they're going to be buying an Xbox, because the value proposition of Game Pass and getting MLB on day one is, I mean, it's just a no-brainer. And so it really leaves me to wonder, you know, if MLB The Show, a Sony first-party game, starts becoming a reason to buy an Xbox, how much longer is Sony really going to want to continue to develop this game? And so when their current deal with the MLB expires, will they continue to develop, or will they re-sign, or will they let that contract lapse? Will they not re-up and let it go to someone else, and you know, maybe Take-Two brings back MLB 2K, which in my opinion would be, you know, a bummer, because I think the show is a much better game than MLB 2K. But, you know, let me know what you think. Do you think that could potentially end up being something that Sony just lets go of this franchise if it becomes a reason to buy an Xbox instead of a PlayStation? In conclusion, I would say if you have Game Pass, absolutely go for it. Buy this game, or download this game. It's incredibly fun. At least give it a try. If you only have a PlayStation and you're looking at the cost of $70, I would say, I mean, really think hard about how much you like baseball and how much you want to play this game. I'm not totally sold on, like, yeah, absolutely, this game is worth $70 at this point. But, you know, maybe you will be. Maybe you're more into baseball than I am. Anyways, let me know what you thought of this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.